Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Yoni Mazur. I'm the co-founder and chief growth officer of Gatira. Today, we're making a special video and production for the end of the year. It's going to be a 2024 year review on the Amazon industry and space. I have my good friend Liran Hirschkorn. Liran, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you very much. Glad to
Yeah.
be here.
Okay, yeah, thank you for being here again. I think last year we did something quite similar. Eliran is the co-founder and chief executive officer, also known as CEO of ID, Incrementum Digital. So without further ado, we're going to just dive into it, give you a kind of rundown on the main points and events of the year. Hopefully this will be helpful for the sales to wrap it up, understand what happened, what's going to be the directions after that potentially, so they can gear up and show up. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get right into it. Boom, we're ready.
Okay.
All right, let's take it away. 2024 events.
Yeah, so you see a list of events here. I think the one of the first things is just like Amazon is continuing over the last few years and in 2024 also share more data with brands. They made improvements this year to brand metrics. They are showing you the full shopper journey from awareness to consideration to purchase, and you can really also compare over time how you're doing compared to other brands in your category, which again, over time you can see where you are in comparison. And if your sales are off, you can go back to looking at past, looking at now, and seeing what percentile you're in terms of those metrics, how many people start at the top of the funnel and how many people get down to the bottom of the funnel, and in which part of the funnel do you need to make improvements. One of the things we're seeing this year is we're seeing brands are focusing more on middle and upper funnel, because that's kind of where you have some leverage to compete with Chinese brands, etc. Like just getting more people on Amazon to search for your brand, to know your brand, whether they're doing it outside of Amazon on TikTok, etc., or whether they're doing it with Amazon DSP. And then being able to understand those metrics, really important. Amazon also launched a new subscribe and save dashboard, giving you a better understanding of what your subscribe and save looks like. For example, one of the things you can now see is how many, like a pie chart, and how many customers cancel after one order, how many have two orders, three orders plus, etc. And you can better understand your strategy around subscribe and save and how changing that strategy might influence that down the line. So for example, if you have a high first order coupon, or if you implement a high first order coupon and then you see that as a result after that more people are canceling after one because you had a big incentive for people to subscribe, get a big coupon, they might just be doing it to get the first order and then cancel. So you can see how these things are influencing. And, I think this is great from Amazon, and kind of brings us into AMC, which is, Amazon now providing
AMC is the Amazon Marketing Cloud, right? That's the acronym.
AMC is the Amazon Marketing Cloud. And essentially what
Mm-hmm.
it is, it's a it's actually an AWS bucket. It's a data room for everything that is happening with your customers, and it's anonymized. So essentially, you can understand things like what is the customer journey, what is the customer path to buying. What does that mean? Typically, you might see a with ads, you see a last click or last view attribution. So if somebody interacted with your sponsored display ad and then your sponsored brand ad, and then they clicked on the sponsored product ad and purchased, in your ad data, normally you would only see the you would see the clicks on the first two and no sale, and then the last
Mm-hmm.
one you would see a click and a sale, and you would say, okay, that's a good ad type, that's working. But you wouldn't necessarily know that that customer started on a journey with searching organically or different ads, etc. And now you can see that with AMC and a path to conversion. You can also create unique audiences of new to brand customers, of people that have added to cart and didn't purchase, different audiences that you can create. And that was really geared more towards DSP. What Amazon is now launching, really this end of the year, like we are now getting all our customers that are sponsored products on AMC. So what does that mean? It means Amazon is going to give you the ability to show your ads to specific audiences. What does that mean? Let's say you're selling a vitamin C, and you don't want to show your you want to show your sponsored ad. It's more important for you to show your sponsored ads to new to brand customers as opposed to your existing customers. Well, you can increase your bid so that you will show up higher only in situations where a new to brand customer is searching, for example. So what Amazon is getting into, ultimately Amazon's goal as you'll see what the theme of this is, maximizing their profitability, maximizing revenue. And their goal is, okay, we've reached kind of like maybe a peak in a cost per click of what someone's willing to pay. How do we get that brand to pay more? Well, if I can get that brand in front of a targeted audience that they really want to be in front of more so, then they can bid lower for repeat customers and people that may already know the brand, but let them bid higher for somebody who's never bought the brand before. And now you'll be able to create these audiences with sponsored products. And it's going to get increasingly important in 2025. And AMC is going to become important to everybody. The only way you can access AMC today is through the API and working with a partner. You don't have self-service access. So this will be
Hmm.
increasingly important for brands to partner with software, with agencies, whatever it is, until maybe Amazon does give you maybe other ways to access it yourself, but that's going to be very important going forward.
Okay,
Um,
so I want to take pause here for
yes.
the so for the first two lines here, kind of two common threads here as far as our common themes is more insights and understanding of what's going on in your advertising for the sellers and the brands, and because of that, you'll probably be enticed to spend more.
Yes. And you'll be able to also make better decisions of how you're spending, where you're
Spend
spending,
more responsibly.
spend more responsibly, how you do your subscribe and save, how you are marketing at the bottom of the funnel versus, consideration or awareness. So
Hmm.
essentially, you're going to have to get a little bit more data driven than you already are, a little bit more sophisticated in analyzing the data and numbers to have an edge. And if you don't do that, I think you'll be behind. If you do
Hmm.
that, you'll be, ahead of brands that are not leveraging these
My recommendation, you always gotta be ahead in this
opportunities.
industry. If you're not ahead, it's your time isn't limited. So my warmest recommendation, sellers, figure it out. If not, partner with the right agency or a
Yeah,
specialist to get ahead.
or software partner. But yes,
Hmm.
you have more access to data today than you ever had before, and making sense of all that is its own
Yeah, it's
you know,
overwhelming. Yeah.
full-time job of like making sense of all the data and then being able to make good decisions based on that. And Amazon's been opening up, I think since Bezos like left as CEO, I think Andy Jassy just opened up a lot more data available. That's actually with the theme of buy with Prime too. Something that probably Bezos would not be for in the past. I think, Andy Jassy, who led AWS, which was like the underlying cloud computing of the internet, is
Hmm.
doing with buy with Prime, which is essentially being the underlying fulfillment methodology of all commerce, not just Amazon FBA. And so we see,
Yeah, well, also when you include AWD, Amazon Warehouse Distribution, you can
yes,
also gear up for a brick and mortar. So if your brand, you gotta ship something to Macy's or to Nordstrom or to Home Depot, they
right.
can facilitate that as well. So on the global level, global logistics, e-commerce logistics, they're pinpointing
Yeah.
that capability. And Buy with Prime is the layer inside rolled up on the FBA side of things, right?
Yeah, buy with Prime on the FBA side, multi-channel fulfillment on just like a 3P side, right? So Amazon, yeah, Amazon wants to be your freight forwarder, your 3P warehouse, your FBA warehouse, your fulfillment on your website. They want to do a lot more in, logistics. They want to store your non-FBA inventory, right? They want to prep and send your products into FBA. They want a bigger piece of the entire logistics pie. And that's what Buy with Prime is really about, fulfilling those orders on your website and giving that trust symbol. But this year, they also announced a partnership with TikTok. We so far have not seen that partnership come to fruition in terms of like what's available. What was supposed to happen this fourth quarter is we were supposed to start seeing ads on TikTok that allowed consumers to essentially check out right on TikTok with Prime without ever leaving the website. And so far, we haven't seen those ads, but
Hmm.
ads basically where you'll be able to do that. But I feel like that will be coming. Why is TikTok doing it? TikTok also wants to keep people on the site longer than going off elsewhere. One thing TikTok's parent company, well,
ByteDance.
you have ByteDance, and then you have the Chinese company. One thing they've done in China was they originally did a similar thing where they partnered with other, like with Taobao, they partnered with other players in the beginning. They got the behavior, they got people buying on the platform, and then eventually they cut off those relationships. So again, that could be
Hmm.
part of a bigger play. Initially, partner with Amazon. Maybe in the future, once Shop becomes more of a player, maybe they maybe they take that off. Obviously, a lot of uncertainty with TikTok because January 19th is supposed to be this deadline. I think if TikTok gets banned, it might be a 1-day ban. My feeling is when Trump comes into office on the 20th, he will give them an extension, at least like a 3-month extension to
figure
either
this out. Yeah.
fight it in the court or to sell the company. Also, January 10th, there's an emergency hearing in front of the Supreme Court that's happening where TikTok will make its case to the Supreme Court to that it's their First Amendment right. But I don't think they're going to win because it's a matter of national security, and that supersedes, I think, the First Amendment. So
Right. Right.
that should be really interesting. Another big thing that happened this year is Amazon Haul is launched. Amazon Haul, if you're not familiar, you'll have a little button on desktop and on mobile that says Haul on top. Amazon Haul is the under $20 product shipped from China store. This is a direct response to Shein and Temu. And basically, this is Chinese sellers that are shipping into Amazon in China, and then Amazon ships from China to you. It's all very cheap products. I think there's certain limitations like on returns and other things you could do there, but this is Amazon's response. You can argue that this is good or bad. In one way, you can argue that this is good because if Amazon didn't have it, it's just more people that are going to Temu in general, and at least Amazon is keeping them on the platform. On the other hand, it's more options for consumers to buy directly from China as opposed to from US sellers. So, you know, I don't think it's great either
A
way.
mixed bag. Yeah.
But what it shows you really is you should not be selling, $20 and less commodity type products because that's just going to be dominated from China. Higher price products, more innovative products, or products made in the US, etc.
Or
Like
patented, if a utility
like
patent or a
yes.
design patent. So we have some modes of defendability, so nobody enters your way, and then you can charge some sort of a premium on it and have a healthier margin.
Yeah, innovating for sure. So that's a big thing. Amazon Haul sort of responds to that. It's interesting too that I think we'll talk more about this particular issue, not Rufus yet, but Amazon also, this is the first year where Amazon came out and said they're not increasing FBA fees for 2025. In fact, last year, Amazon lowered fees on apparel category for
That's right.
sellers if you sell under
Mhm.
$15 and under $20. And the reason they did that is a direct
Was the first hint of Hall. Now they just call Amazon Hall. They kind of started midway, and then it seems like they did a whole overhaul and they called it Hall. You know.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. And they lowered your fees on apparel because of Shein. And so, I think all this competition essentially is ultimately really good. TikTok getting banned is not good for sellers because,
Commerce.
the
Yeah.
more competition Amazon has, the better and the more leverage, sellers have. Amazon launched Rufus this year. It's the AI shopping helper. We're starting to see Amazon place Rufus in more areas and give you more kind of questions, suggestions of things you should be asking. I think one of the things sellers need to think about is going to listings, seeing what questions Rufus is giving you there, and making sure on your listings, as you're setting up new ones or on your listings competition and looking at the competition, making sure you're answering those questions that Rufus is suggesting to you on listings. So like optimizing for AI and for Rufus based on those like suggested questions
Machine learning. Machine
people have
learning. Yeah.
is something you'll be doing. If I had to guess, I don't think there's a huge adoption yet in Rufus, but I think over time it's going to get smarter, it's going to get better, and people will be using it more. It may end up even, you know, it may end up even giving better conversion rates, but less options for brands. So you'll want to kind of be in
Yeah.
there. And Amazon has already put out that they're starting to show ads in Rufus, so that's going to be part of the opportunity. Another thing I just saw, it's in a let's say confidential beta. But one of the things I saw is that you'll be able to start running ads and targeting specific third-party websites of where your ad is going to show, and you'll be able to control it. So, for example,
Well, does it through DSP through demand side
no,
platform?
Seller Central, advertising console. You'll be able to say, okay, I want to run this ad on iherb.com. That's one of the sites actually. And let's say that's for like supplements. So one thing is you'll be able to do more off
How do
Amazon.
they do that? They own that digital asset, or they have other parties they partner with to get that advertised?
Yeah, it's Amazon doesn't own iHerb, so I imagine it's a partnership, and Amazon's like buying space there.
Yeah, I
Uh,
got it.
and
Buying and reselling, basically.
what's that?
Buying and reselling.
Yeah, essentially they're arbitraging, right? Like they pay X
Mm-hmm.
amount, you pay
Yeah, yeah.
Y, and yeah, they'll show your ad on third party site, and you'll be able to control it and do that within. So we're seeing more of some of these DSP capabilities coming more into
But
the
hold on, for
advertising.
Amazon, it could be a double dip where they arbitrage on the digital advertising aspect, but if somebody clicks, they go into Amazon, they buy it on Amazon, correct? So that's the second dip.
Yeah, Yeah,
right?
and Amazon does a lot of that already, arbitrage with they're the biggest advertiser on Google. And what Amazon does a lot is they'll run a Google ad, it might cost them 60 cents, and then the person gets to Amazon and clicks on the ad there, right? And they're double dipping ads.
Yeah.
And then another thing Amazon rolled out this year is they're starting to show ads on Prime Video. As a consumer, it's very annoying. I hate seeing ads when I'm watching, video, but that seems to be the trend. Hulu does it, Netflix does it now.
Is there an
Amazon
option
now.
to buy option to pay
Yes,
a little bit more and get out of it on Prime?
yes. There's an
Okay.
option to pay 2.99 and do it.
For the
I
year, month?
what's that?
For
Two
the
dollars
year,
ninety
for
nine
the
cents.
Prime?
Two dollars
From
99 cents a month to not see those ads. I don't watch enough Prime where I really like do that, but I did check out Mr. Beast's new show on Prime, which they got on Prime. It's pretty interesting. He's giving away $5 million, most
hmm
that's ever been given away on a show. So it's pretty interesting. And yeah, I was watching also like all the ads on there. That must be very premium space. I only saw really big brands advertising, so there must be prime real estate for video. Like only T-Mobile. I didn't see like any smaller, $50 million brands, $100 million brands on there. I saw all
Prime
like
listed on Amazon Prime ads. Yeah.
what's that? Yeah,
Prime listed on Amazon Prime ads. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Prime real estate and Amazon Prime ads. Now, for sellers, this is good in a sense because you now open up more inventory to get in front of, Amazon Prime customers with like very granular type of targeting that you could do. So just more inventory, streaming and video and, connected TV is just going to be more of the theme of what Amazon is doing next year as well. So these are some of the highlights, when I look at the year in terms of, what Amazon rolled out.
Yeah, so this is, I think, thank you so much. This is a really nice coverage throughout the year, what's going on here. But now we're gonna kind of glitch over towards the, I guess, not the last update, but the last maybe major update or major
Yeah,
update that's
shock
I'm more biased
shockwave
on.
causing shockwaves, right, throughout kind of
Yeah.
seller community.
Yeah. Yeah, the seller community. So this is regarding FBA reimbursement policy. This is kind of the language here. It's a lot of words. It's in English, but it's in Amazon English. But the bottom line is that what's going to happen is, up to there's a deadline basically. Deadline on March 10. Well, Amazon's going to start reimbursing sellers based on manufacturing cost as opposed to sale price. So once again, manufacturing cost, sale
Yeah,
price. So so basically, if yeah, the March 10th is gonna be the change. If you don't give them any information, they're gonna try to figure out where your manufacturing cost is. This is the first bullet here. The second bullet is saying if you want us to, if you basically we're paying you under your cost, you can basically upload a document in a new portal we're gonna provide you in March 10th. Sorry, it's gonna actually the portal is gonna start late January, but March 10th the policy will take effect. And then if you want us basically to pay you costs, you're gonna have to disclose your manufacturing supplier, stuff like that, which some sellers are not too comfortable with. So that's high level kind of the policy update. So with your permission, we're gonna kind of move over to the before and after example on a micro level. This is micro level on the
yeah,
inventory unit level. This is an assumption. It's not a done deal. But right now, March 10, if you see your seller cost per the inventory unit is or manufacturing cost is $5, you want to sell on Amazon for 25. If the unit got lost or damaged on FBA warehouses, so they're gonna give you $25 reimbursement minus the selling fees, which is could be 8%, 15%, depends on the category, but also the fulfillment fees will be deducted. In
right.
this specific example, it's about 30%. So in this case, the seller on the micro level will be paid $17.50 in reimbursement. Okay,
Right.
but March 10
And and
after.
and and by the way, this is still bad because you are now probably out of stock, right? Like you still have negative repercussions for your business. It's not like, oh yeah, I wish Amazon loses my inventory because, either way I get paid all the money in one shot instead of like selling it over time and, I don't have to pay ads, right? All this stuff. It's like a benefit. But at the same time, you're probably going out of stock. It's hurting your listing. Your customers can't get your product. You're losing ranking. You have all these things.
And you're losing feedback. If somebody actually would have bought
Yeah.
it and had good experience, they might have given you feedback.
Yes.
So all these layers
Get
of potential
reviews.
negative effects. So at the end of the day, you just want to buy and you want to sell. You don't want anything to happen in between. So if anything
Right.
happens in between, this will be,
At
this will be
least
the
you got
status.
paid.
So yeah, at least you got, yeah, at least they minimized it and made it equitable. I'll put it this way. But
Right.
March 10 afterwards, if your cost is $5, your sell price is still 25, and something happened, you get paid $5. So the drop from this reality today to this is
Massive.
a 72% drop in a
Yoni,
seller.
I,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. What's, let's say I'm selling $5 million a year on Amazon. I use
Mm-hmm.
FBA. How much of this, what's the likelihood? How much dollars are we talking about that
Yeah,
a
so
seller
so
might
yeah, so
experience?
the yeah, so this is the micro level. Let's try to, flip it into the macro level, right? So in your particular example, if you're selling $5 million in FBA, annually, this can really, discrepancies could be 3%. very, very easily or more. So it can be, 3% out of 5 million, it's $150,000 worth of cash reimbursements you're getting today. And this drops to 72%. It means that how much are you down? You tell me.
150,000, 70 to 70%, you're left with what, like 40, some 45,000, like something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you're gonna lose like 70, $80,000 in
Yeah,
reimbursements, and you're only gonna get 30 to 40,000, something like that, right? So 15 times 3 is 45,000. So all the rest you'll
right,
lose. So yeah, you lose over 100 grand. Sorry.
right,
So in this situation, 100,000 cash at $100,000 in cash, you'll be out of your pocket into Amazon's balance sheet. So in that case, yeah, that's on the macro level per seller. That's doing about $5 million a year. And if you're doing $5 million a year, let's take it one step forward. And your net, let's say margin is 10%, right? After everything's said and done, 10%. So
right.
that's 500,000, right? So if so now your margins, it's instead of 500,000, you're gonna be down to 400,000 because you're gonna lose that 100,000 in cash flow.
Huge, it's
So
huge.
so that's a 20% drop in your
How about Amazon just stop losing people's inventory, right? Like, it wouldn't be an issue, but
yeah. So the next step after that is that the fact. So until now, Amazon, because of this structure, they had more incentive to try to prevent from these things happening in the first place, correct? But now it's going to cost them much less. On the monetary side, there's less incentive for them to prevent. So what's going to happen if now it's going to be statistically more than 3% discrepancy? It's going to be 5 or 6 or 7. Well, it's all these questions that sellers have where they're saying we want to prevent it from happening in the first place, but the action here of reducing the payout doesn't speak to that. If anything,
and
they should be
also like
saying,
who wants to give Amazon their cost,
their
because
cost or their supplier, the information supplier, because they had the federal issue with the Jeff Bezos are going to the senator or the Congress to testify, and they had all the evidence showing that there is
right,
a track record of Amazon with their private label having issues.
copying your
Yeah.
products based on the supplier information. Yeah.
Correct. So all these questions are still up in the air for the seller community, from the macro level to the micro level to the federal level.
Do you think with enough pushback from now until March? I mean, I don't like, on the one hand, I think there's no way Amazon will change this policy because we're talking about, I said to you millions and millions of dollars and you said to me billions, right? So like
Yeah, this is gonna be in the billions. So yeah,
you're talking about tremendous amount of money to the bottom line for Amazon. So like, negative press does tend to, do a lot. I'd be curious how much negative press this is getting now, and you know, if sellers can try to do anything to fight it.
I don't know. It's up to the sellers. All we
Right,
do is help the sellers. We are not the sellers.
right,
It's really in their hands. I don't know. It's once
right,
again we're wrapping 2024, coming to 2025 is something to pay attention to, definitely. So we'll see how that plays. Plus we have a new government coming into town, and we don't
right,
know. It's just a lot of questions up in the air, which makes it more, call it dramatic or climactic on many levels. Don't forget we have the TikTok situation, Amazon situation, world politics, geopolitics, wars all around, world trade, China tension, tariffs. There's a lot in this turbulence, so it's pretty interesting times.
right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, so to monitor one, yeah, you mentioned this earlier. Obviously Amazon announced that there can be no FBA fees increase of 2025, but obviously by on the back end, reducing the payouts for FBA refunds might
right.
prove out to be more costly for the sellers. And okay, let's go back a little bit to the
It
to the
almost,
macro level.
it almost makes sellers say, you know what, I'm just going to do FBM, but you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot doing FBM because you don't have
You
that
might get less traffic, yeah, because the algorithm
Prime
likes
badge.
favors, yeah, the Prime badge and the fact that they can rely on the fact that they can get your product to consumer as soon as possible. So a lot of questions, a lot of options, a lot of junctions for a lot of players, and 2025 will start showing hopefully sprouts of where things are shaking out. But why is this happening on the micro level? Let's step back a bit more on the macro level because we're just talking about Amazon Marketplace. Let's talk about Amazon in general as a company, right? There's more divisions and more activities. So obviously, Amazon plans to reach double-digit profit margins within the next 2 years. So you see in the blue area, that's historical margins. You see it fluctuates anywhere between almost a 0 to 2%. Kind of start peaking at 6%. So even though it peaked around 6%, for the next 2 years, they really want to get aggressive. This is 2024. So this is 2025, 26. They want to reach more than 12% out of 6%, which that itself was a peak.
Right,
So that's where they're planning, and this is Amazon. It's not a couple tens of millions of dollars. This is
right.
from doubling from 6% to
They need
12%.
some
It's
major,
tens of
they
billions
need,
of dollars. Yeah,
right,
tens of billions of dollars. So Amazon is squeezing all the margin can optimize throughout all the business units, right? So we spoke about the marketplace. There's also on the cloud system. I don't know what's going on if they're raising prices or not, but definitely there's things over there. But obviously, the advertising side, it's over $50 billion right now annual spend
Right.
for the sellers. It's only expected to grow. I know that on the associate side, Amazon has provide new policy there where associates will have to choose between getting paid Amazon associates or from the brands. You cannot have both. It was a double dip component that was available, and that has been stopped, and so it means less payouts for Amazon in that regard, and increasing the margins. Obviously, we spoke about the FBA refund policy update. Any other alignments there you see? Oh yeah, there's also work from home. Amazon. Yeah, go ahead.
Amazon, like, at some point last year, I think they said, okay, it's 3 days in the office, I think, but what they didn't really, I think this is what they suggested or wanted to do, but now they came back and said I think starting in January, you have to be in the
Mhm.
office 5 days a week or you don't have your job. And I know a lot of people that had to leave because of it, because they moved, away from Seattle or away from near offices.
Mhm.
And, the only way they get to keep their job is if they move closer, closer to an office. And while Amazon will deny it, it's kind of a way to fire people without getting
Yeah, once again, the
negative
restructure,
press.
shaking the dust off on many levels. So, they can really hard focus. Andy Jassy can really come in and hard focus on the bottom line profit
Bottom line.
margins on all business functions, all divisions, and take it to the next step of the future. So, this is more of a Wall Street kind of projection, type of announcement. And they're trying to show that they're really bullish on what's coming. And I guess they want to hope that the investors will follow and the stock will be getting stronger over those years as well. So, if you're an investor, hopefully that's good news for you. If you're within those ecosystem players that might have get affected, you're gonna have to pivot fast. Hopefully this overview will
Right.
help you a
I
little
mean,
bit on
look, if you're an
that.
investor, it's good. But if brands, are having a hard time making money, then, I mean, it means, Amazon ad revenue maybe goes down because they can't spend as much on Amazon ads, right? Like, sort of long term. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm a
Yeah,
shareholder and it's one of my best stock holdings over the last, like
10
since
years.
COVID. It's up like 60-70%. The stock, it's done very well. I'm bullish on Amazon, but I like the fact that they have more competition because it would have been worse. It would have been fee increases, and it would have been worse for sellers if not for
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. And
So seeing under all the circumstances is the best we can get, right? Because of there's competition still. So there's layers of competition. You're saying there's still optimal situation, based on what maybe they could have
I
been
mean,
doing.
it's again, to me, it's good that these other players are, coming up. I would love to see Walmart, do more, but I'm personally more bullish on TikTok than Walmart, just because the ability to go viral and, sell through social commerce as opposed to just Walmart, which, you
Hmm.
know, people sell there, but it doesn't seem like, crazy sales from what I'm seeing, with brands.
So far, yeah. So it seems like you're a true capitalist, even though you're a stockholder and you're saying competition is good because it will get the best out of all players.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And, from a seller's perspective, for sure, competition is good. It'll be interesting to see what happens with TikTok, and what unfolds there, start later this
Got it.
year.
Okay, so with that in mind, a few points here. So obviously on the FBA side, as opposed to FBM for football merchant, you can always go there and do what you got to do. But only the
Yep.
high margin FBA sellers will probably survive on FBA in the future. Obviously, sellers might have to ship to Walmart or TikTok to protect margins. Just business. It's all
Yeah.
about making
And
profit.
D2C.
Yeah,
you know.
direct to consumer. Shopify
And
stuff like
retail,
that.
retail, direct to consumer, like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the more channels you can optimize around, the better. Obviously, you need to have focus in your business. So like depending on your team size and your revenue, but opportunities to get into retail, D2C, TikTok, Walmart, that's good for, depending on on your product and what it is you're selling, figuring out how you can diversify your business.
Got it. Okay, obviously, so one action point that is pretty straightforward and it's apparent. Obviously, there's a major deadline right now, right? So FBA sellers, you need to get your FBA refunds at sale value,
Right.
right? As opposed to cost value before March 10th. We showed you the micro example. So it's if you better do it on time or you're gonna miss out, big time.
Right.
So better just to do it, get it done. And after the deadline hits, you make your adjustments. But until then, if you can really maximize in all your reimbursements, get a sell price and pad up your margins. That would be a wise thing to do. And if you want us to help you a little bit, we did prepare a small humble offer here of $400 from on the Gatita side. So if you scan this or just visit gatita.com/. Deadline 400. The first $400 we're gonna get for you, and FBA refunds will be free. Don't forget, we're gonna be able to go to the past. All the refunds you haven't taken care of yet, we're gonna be able to take care of it for you. Flush you with all this cash at sale price instead of cost price. So hopefully you'll be best positioned out of your competition, by the time the deadline hits. So if you survive until this point and this far, my recommendation is go for it and optimize your business on all fronts, including this front. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out here. I'm happy to help. You want to give a shout out to where they can find you if they want to learn more for
Yeah,
Incrementum?
incrementumdigital.com. You can also DM me on social, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, Twitter, wherever, and also through our website, incrementumdigital.com. We're helping brands scale on Amazon, on Walmart, on TikTok with advertising and overall management and optimization of the brand.
Nice. So yeah, so guys, yeah, we kind of summarized the year. It was a heck of a year, intense, busy, robust as the way it should be. So hopefully for you guys, whoever's watching it, if it was a challenging year, it's okay. There's always next year. And if you had a great year, keep that momentum going. Thank you so much again, Liran. I hope
Thank
everybody
you.
enjoyed this and much success later on. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.